Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the Scream Scene. I'm Jody Dean. This is my co-host, Krista. Krista, what going on?
I went to the dentist today, so I'm feeling pretty happy.
You had a man inside of your mouth today.
The funny thing about that too is she's like, "Let me suction your mouth out," and I said, "It's okay. I'm used to swallowing."
Wow. Wait, so this was a woman?
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
female.
okay.
It
Okay,
was a
so
dentist.
you had a chick inside your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, that's cool. How's the mouth feeling right now?
It's better. I'm not numb anymore, but it's still my bite feels a little weird. You know, when they put the filling in, I don't think they filed it all the way down yet. But
Oh,
it,
dentists are the real life horrors. The pain that they make us. You know what? Sometimes it's not even the pain that you feel; it's that sound of that instrument scraping against your teeth.
the drill and the
Mm.
smell of the stuff that they fill your tooth with when they're grinding it, it smells really weird, like hot ass.
I, I I have to agree. I think there's something about when they put on the latex glove and they go diving into your mouth and they're so up in there that it's just kind of like I feel like we should know each other a little bit better.
Gross. Yeah, that's true. They do
Yeah.
dive right in.
It is very weird, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Guys, we are here to talk about the Crystal Lake TV series. Is it coming? Is it not coming? They keep on saying all kinds of things, and we just don't really know what to make of it. When I Google it here, I see all kinds of different stuff. I see somebody says it's reported that it has stopped development. They've stopped development on their Friday the 13th prequel series, Crystal Lake. Then everybody in the comment sections talking about Maxine. They're going on somebody else's post to promote a new film. That's pretty smart. I should do that with Mallet, I suppose. But Crystal Lake is a prequel series to the Friday the 13th. Follows a doomed small town where camp counselors come to die, and that's really all it gives you.
It sounds just like the movies that I wasn't a huge fan of, as you guys know.
I what do you think it was about the Friday the 13th movies about Jason that didn't float your boat?
So I'm trying to rediscover him in general. So I rewatched the first two. I don't find them very gory yet. There's like how many is there? I've like 7 or 8.
There is a lot of them. I don't I don't know exactly. I should know this. But I will say that when I was a kid, I favored I favored Jason over Freddy. I favored Friday the 13th over Nightmare on Elm Street. And I favored Chucky over all of them.
Mhm.
There was something about that little doll bastard just running around with his knife that and his voice and the way he talked that for me, he was just the scariest out of that Mount Rushmore of horror characters.
I did watch the Chucky series because you had said it was decent, and it wasn't bad. It was kind of funny. I found it funny. Haha, surprise, surprise.
The kills were very unique.
Yes, they were. The dishwasher scene was one of my favorite kills out of all of them. So I'm wondering if the whole series, the Crystal Lake series, is because um there's an issue with your Apple Music account. To resolve
Uh-oh, Krista's place is haunted, guys. It's just all of a sudden there's something paranormal going on while we're doing this interview.
Did you hear that?
I did. I heard that.
Okay, so I mean, maybe because Chucky did really well, they're doing this series too to try to, turn the horror franchises that we loved into series now because everybody loves binging. But as far as Jason, I don't know. I just didn't get into him. Freddy was my man. Freddy was unique. He was funny. I liked his makeup. Jason has a mask, like is it the hockey mask or is that the other guy?
Jason has the hockey
Yeah.
mask. But let me ask you a more important question here. Okay. You got to fuck one, marry one, kill one. Jason, Chucky, Freddy. Give me an order.
Uh, I'd probably want to fuck Jason. because
Okay.
I wouldn't have to see his face. You could just cut.
Wow, you dirty, dirty bird. Wow.
I would fuck one, marry one, and what's the other option?
Fuck one, marry one, kill one.
I would probably kill Freddy and marry Chucky. 'Cause you could just pick him up and carry him around, you know?
Wow, she has to be in control. That's what All right. Listen, here's real thoughts here. Here's some realness. I am very stoked about this TV series if it is actually happening. It seems again, it seems like for quite a while now we've been seeing the posters about Crystal Lake and hearing talks about it. Is it happening? Is it not happening? I mean, it's on IMDb. However, people do get stuff up there sometimes and then it falls through, just goes away, but it stays up on IMDb. A lot of people have written about it, a lot of people have talked about it, but we have seen how things just people get so excited and then it can either end up being like the Fred thing. The Fred thing was fake news. I don't believe Crystal Lake is fake news. However, I think it's one of those things where they've dropped the ball on it many times and it's like, how important is it? Are all the stars aligned? I don't think that must be it because they've hyped this thing up and the fans have hyped this up to where it's like, is this actually happening?
I feel like it's gonna happen. Is there a reason they said they paused it? Was there an issue with the actors, like you were saying? Like, I've seen them stop production of certain things because something happened, an actor died, or they had to, readjust the characters. But
I don't see too much. I don't see too much of that. Every time I hear that they're stopping it, something else will pop back up and say it's happening, and it's one of the most frustrating things in the world because, since I was a kid, I have been a fan of Jason. I I love the remake of Friday the 13th that happened. I want to say, and I'm probably wrong. I want to say it happened around like 2011 to 2013. Um, I really, really enjoyed that. It wasn't Kane Hodder, it was the other big ass dude that played Jason. Guy was a phenomenal Jason. I mean, he was just massive. I really enjoyed that remake right there. I've been excited about a TV. I've gotten more into TV shows as I've got older. Like I used to not be into TV shows, but now like I think it all started with Bates Motel. Did you ever see that series?
no, I didn't about the psycho, right? The psycho guy with his
Freddie
mom.
Highmore played Norman Bates, and he was absolutely incredible.
Is it worth watching? I've heard multiple things about it. I have not seen it.
I own it on DVD, and I can tell you there is not a TV series that Alicia and I have rewatched more than Bates Motel. It was so, so well done.
Wow, I'll have to check it out. Add it to my list. But as far as Jason, what is his like favorite thing? Like what made you fall in love with Jason specifically?
You know, I remember when I was younger, I wanted a hockey mask because of Jason. And when you look at a hockey mask, they're really not scary. But there was something about Jason's hockey mask, that particular hockey mask, and carrying around the machete. Something about the way he would get knocked down and just get back up, the way that people would run and he would just walk, but somehow he managed to keep up with them. That was such like a cool film trick to where it's like, Jesus, no matter you could be the fastest person, you could be the Flash, but this dude can still walk and catch up to you. There was something about that that was absolutely hilarious, but at the same time, it was like, he's gonna get you, bitch. And a girl always falls in a Jason. They fall in every horror film, but bitches really be falling in Jason movies. And there's something about it that he just can't be killed. And I know that's with a lot of characters, but it always seemed really fun about Jason. Like it became a joke to where it was like, new Jason movies out. Oh, I can't wait to see how he's coming back this time. I can't wait to see him almost get killed this time. Like, and there's just a sense now to where it's like he's never going to die. That's even Michael Myers in Halloween Ends dies, you know. So now it's kind of like, is there going to be Friday the 13th Ends at some point?
I don't even think Michael Myers is dead yet. They just keep resurrecting these characters. But I think the iconic people from the 80s, like Michael Myers and Jason and Freddy, they are like, you're talking about the running away scenes, like that's where that came from, like the horror, like theme of the why are you running downstairs when you know the killer's down there? Why not run out the back door instead of going up the stairs? It's like, you know what the Scream movies were making fun of. All of these themes that we find in all of these movies that we grew up with in the 80s. But that added like so much like tension and like creepiness and like, you know, these the bimbos that star in the movies that are like, you know what I mean when I say bimbo. It's like the blonde girl that makes the wrong decision, or you
And
know,
they're always very, very attractive, and you know, they just have this vibe about him, like, oh, I fell, he's gonna get me, you know.
after they get railed in a tent, you know.
That's what you know, dude. The way they did it in the 80s, and we're carrying the traditions on now in our own ways, is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But yeah, when I was a kid, I just thought Jason was the best. I you know, maybe there was things about other people I missed, but there was, I don't think as a kid there was anything I rented more than Child's Play, Friday the 13th, and you know what? I did rent Nightmare on Elm Street quite a bit, but I it seemed like every month I was renting Child's Play. I mean, I could have bought it 100 times. And I remember my mom and my grandma just saying, God, that boy's obsessed with these horror films. And even back then, I remember watching them and thinking to myself, wow, that was a good shot. And I remember they would look at me like, what are you talking about? Like, it's a good shot. Nobody took a shot in there, you know, like, I'm like, no, no, the way they did the camera thing. And they're like, oh, that's interesting that you noticed that, little fellow, you know, and just pat me on my head. And back then I just had so much appreciation for horror films, and now and shit, when I watch them, I'm just like, man, dude, like they were so ahead of what people are doing now, and people now have equipment that makes it easier to do what they were doing then.
What exactly do you think we're doing that's unique today versus, you know, the 80s? They did so many different things. And now today it's like we're either rewriting them, like doing a series like about Crystal Lake because they can't come up with anything else original. I would say Stranger Things was pretty original. But
Oh, I love Stranger Things so much. And in fact, I've been thinking about re-binging the whole series, even though I've already done it 2 or 3 times. It's just that good. But you know what it was, Krista? And this is, oh my God, we've never talked about this before. I'm glad you said that. What was the difference between now and then that makes the 80s so unique when it comes to these films? I think what it was original ideas back then. There wasn't a huge back catalog. Now it's hard for people to come up with original ideas because everything's been done, because it was done in the 80s, the 90s, you know, Y2K now. And at this point, the only thing that really, really sticks out now is something that is just so unique and original. Perfect example, In a Violent Nature. I think the reason, like, I watched that film, I could make that film. I'm not like even being like, you know, it was a very simplistic film. It's very good. What was different about it? It was the first time we've seen a whole movie through a killer's perspective. We see it in video games all the time. I don't know why it took so long for somebody to do it, but that one little thing made it unique to where people were like, oh, this is new. A lot of the other stuff is just, how many clown movies are we going to see? They look different, but they're killing people the same way. Oh, another guy got his throat slit the same way I've seen in the last 20 movies. Back in the 80s, they were doing just wild, crazy films, and they're badass, bro. I watch 80s films a lot, and I'm just like, man, they were so ahead of the curve. They're ahead of today. What we're seeing.
They definitely are. I don't see characters now that can stand up to the original, like, the kingpins of horror.
Yeah.
You see, like, okay, so for example, Chucky or Annabelle. They're both creepy dolls. They both are possessed. I think I like Annabelle's story a little bit better because I'm into like religious horror and stuff like that a little bit. I like the whole idea of who are those the ghost people in there that
Ed and Lorraine.
yes, I love their backstory. So there's a lot of history with Ed and Lorraine Warren. So I feel like they have a little unique spin on, the possessed doll. But then
Mhm.
there was another one that came out, the android doll that was a girl. Do you remember what that was called?
Oh,
Um,
Megan.
Yes, Megan.
Yeah,
It's
Megan was really well done.
yeah, it's still a doll story, but it's a little different because it was like a android type. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely I enjoyed Megan, and I actually rewatched it like a week ago,
did you?
for my second time. Yeah, I did, and I was like, you know what, I do love what they did here. I think the great concept, and I love. See, that's what I'm saying. Somebody made a doll that could be your friend, and it's like it's kind of Chucky, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's
Throw in the
like
AI. She's teachable now. Like
right
what was the Terminator? Like the Terminator was an AI. It's like
facts. Yeah, I'll be back. Get to the chopper. Um, but there was something else that was right there on the oh man, Jason X. Did you see that? Came
no.
out in like 2001.
The last one I saw, well, I saw Jason vs. Freddy, but I don't know that I saw
Okay.
Jason X.
Jason X, where he's like they take him into like outer space.
Oh no.
He's been frozen and like he thaws out, man, and he's on this like space shuttle ship and starts killing everybody on there, and they, like it. I actually, so many people I know, they hate that movie. They think it's so lame. I really enjoy it. It reminds me of something you would have seen in the 80s, not 2001. And I think that's really what they were going for. They were trying to keep that feel going, or that's just their style at that point because they had been doing it for so long. But Jason X is actually really good. If you get bored, you should check that out.
I'm gonna watch that tonight when I'm working because that sounds right up my alley as far as Jason movies. And it kind of reminds me of Alien, like on being in space and killing people. I love that.
You know what is crazy? I never got into Alien.
No.
No, and I think I need to rewatch it though because I have this problem where like I will watch something and then I'll move on. And I think that's what the average person does. We're like, oh, it's not for us. We move on. But then sometimes, like, I notice in the past, I've given something a second chance. And I'm like, why didn't I like this the first time? It's so good. So, like, I do want to go back and rewatch it. I have it on VHS. I bought it on VHS because I'm like, I'm going to rewatch this at some point. But I think Sigourney
The
Weaver,
Beaver, yeah.
I think that's how you say her name. I think she is a great actress, and the aliens, I always thought they looked cool. And even though it might not be my cup of tea, like there's so much I do appreciate about it. And I've seen the films, I've seen clips of things that I haven't seen all of them, but
Mhm.
I've seen like clips from everything, and very talented individuals making those movies, and I get why fans like it. I think that my oldest son says this to me all the time. He's like, "Oh man, there's this really cool horror sci-fi movie," and I'm like, "Ooh, you lost me at sci-fi." Like, I just like horror, cut and dry horror.
I get that. I mean, you know how big of a horror fan I am, but I grew up. My birth dad loved sci-fi. He was all about anything science fiction, like Star Trek, Aliens, Predator. The Predator versus Aliens was pretty good too. But so I would sit there at my dad's house every other weekend, and these are the kind of movies he would be watching there. So I definitely would get stuck on them. There's some good shots in Aliens. Like it was shot really well. And as far as
Hmm.
you had said something about you watch a movie and move on, I think that might be what happened with Jason. When I was never a huge fan. I would watch him and just like there was nothing there, and I just moved on. I didn't like want to rewatch it. But I
Mm.
might revisit them. I will. I've gotten 2 in, so we'll see if I can
You
get back.
should definitely watch Jason X. I think you
Yeah.
will like that. There is really cool settings. Jason looks pretty gnarly in it. There's a good amount of sex in the film, and you know, it's actually pretty decent. I remember Alicia looking at me a couple times, like, "What the fuck are you watching?" And me, it was just over here, just floating my boat. I'm like, "Oh God, this is fucking great." It reminds me of an 80s film, even though it came out, I think it was 2001. It was like early 2000s, but
The 80s is where it's at. Look at Netflix. Was it Netflix that did the Fear Street? Have you seen any of the Fear Street movies that are?
I and dude, perfect example. I watched them the first time and I kind of was on the fence, and I came back and watched them like 6 months later and I enjoyed it the second round.
They're good. Like I loved them the first time I watched them. They have the Stranger Things kind of vibe to them because they try to revive the 80s a little bit too.
Yeah.
So just like everybody, it's nostalgia. That's where it's at.
I agree, and I love that. And even though I try and keep elements of that, like when I've done like Mallet 1 and Mallet 2, like I try and keep a little feel of like 80ness in there. I still haven't done what I would like to do. I am determined to make a film that looks, feels, and you just think that you're stuck in the 80s when it's happening, just because there was something about that day and time. And when I say I want to do it, I want things to be period correct, like from a belt buckle, dude, to a shoelace, to, you know, a shower curtain in the background. I want to do it like that. And one day I will. I mean, you're definitely talking a different kind of budget.
Mhm.
You know, when you're talking things like that, and like Stranger Things, you know, that's big dog shit right there. Even if that's independent, that's still big dog shit. I think at this point they're way past independent, but maybe the first one when they did it was like on a level of like, you know, like, hey, let's see where this goes. And I don't think people ever expect that these things are. Nobody thought Twilight was going to do what it did. Nobody thought Stranger Things was going to do what it did. Bates Motel, everybody thought they were going to get one season. The TV show Salem, did you ever watch that?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Oh my God. Dude, that series, I have that on DVD too. It was that good to where I bought all 3 seasons on DVD. So freaking well done, but nobody ever knows what's gonna catch, and these catch for a reason.
I was watching Horror Story, and then it just kind of fell off for me after the hotel one that they did. I really loved Horror Story, American Horror Story. I'm sorry. Have you
I
watched?
love the first one too. I fell off after the first one. Is that what happened? You're saying happened
Well,
to you?
I think the hotel season. It was all in the hotel. The one with Lady Gaga, I believe she was in that one. I
Oh, I
just
never made it that far.
each season stands on its own, and they're different, but I just kind of needed a break. Like The Walking Dead, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, but I took 3 years off, and I just finished binging them. I don't know, a couple months back, but
I still have not watched every episode of The Walking Dead. I also fell off of that. Um, I do feel like there was a point during The Walking Dead, there was a moment that where it kind of got like pick up the pace.
mhm.
Um, and I heard from everybody and their mother that they did. Like, Jody, you got to stick with it. Like, you know, they're trying to throw you off. Like, trust me, like they get back in the game. And there's other series, like there's other seasons after that that do the same thing. But
Mhm.
like you just gotta stick with it. You gotta stick with it. Now they're doing all these offset type
Spin
origin story type deals.
right. I've watched both Miss
Spinoffs. That's
Stone
what it is.
spinoff, and I watched the Daryl one. That one's kind of cool because he's actually overseas in Europe, which I thought it was kind of a different twist to it.
Who was your favorite on the Walking Dead series? Was it Daryl?
Negan.
Yeah.
Negan, like, okay, so Negan wasn't there the whole series. I would say Daryl probably was my favorite from the beginning to the end, but Negan's character was everything I love, and his personality, his sense of humor, his freaking bat that he runs around and smashes people's heads in with, like, and he is so. His character is done so well. He's so deep. There's so much pain in his character, and when he's sitting here bashing people's brains out, it's because he's hurt. Like, he doesn't know
Mhm.
what else to do with his life at this point. he's just trying to stay in the game.
Isn't that something? I love movies and TV series like that where the filmmaker can make you feel sympathy for somebody that on paper you really, this guy doesn't deserve no sympathy. He's going around knocking people's heads off, but I am sympathetic to him because he's knocking people's heads off because he's hurt, he's lost. And I watch movies sometimes and I'll be like, why do I feel bad for the killer right now? This murdering son of a bitch has just slaughtered everybody in the village, and somehow I'm sitting here saying, poor guy, he has issues. And I'm like, you know,
He cracked his hot dog. Somebody get him another hot dog. Somebody feed the killer. I mean, they did a whole backstory on Negan too. They showed like flashbacks in his life, and he was a freaking gym coach. Like he taught students like gym class. Like they showed how he turned into the monster that he was because the same people did this stuff to his wife and his family, and she died of cancer, I believe. She had cancer, and then like just one bad thing after another happened to him. And
didn't he knock Glenn's head off?
yeah, well, I mean, he didn't technically decapitate him, but he knocked his eyes out of his brains. It's like
Poor fucking Glenn. That guy was the sweetest thing on earth.
and now like towards the end, him and Maggie kind of have a little tiny relationship, but not really.
She let him hit it once.
No, she didn't. She didn't.
Oh Lord. Well, listen, I will say one thing that I loved about The Walking Dead was the rawness, real-time film approach that they did. And I know it's such a long series that they're able to drag their feet on shots and do things. You don't want a million cuts in a show that's going to be an hour long, that's going to go on forever. When you have to constantly film episodes, like there's a lot of long drawn out shots, and it's something that I appreciate now more than ever. Because I just did a zombie short film, and I found myself doing shots like that. And it wasn't because of The Walking Dead, but when I was watching them, I was like, I could cut to his face right here. I could cut to a shot of his feet right here, but I'm going to let him walk a little bit more. And there's something about the walk and the long stares and the slow burning grins and frowns and eye movements and shaking hands that I did with this short film that I don't do with my movies. And I can't wait to show it to people. It's a zombie short, and it kind of, a few people seen pictures and they're like, it reminds me of The Walking Dead. I'm like, it reminds me of The Walking Dead. It's not what I was going for, but it does have those vibes.
It seems like that show the state of the world. It shows who the character is, where the character is. It adds to the fact that he's alone. You're alone in an apocalypse, and doing those longer drawn out scenes reiterates that, like the loneliness that you feel. At least that's my opinion of it anyway.
Who do you think the sexiest person is in the horror genre?
What? Oh,
one person. You can't go, oh, well, I would pick him number 1, him number 2, him number 3, her number 4. You can't do that. You can pick one person out of the entire horror genre. Who is the hottie horror icon?
are we talking about slasher types or like Dexter?
Anybody, if they have to do with a horror film, TV show, feature film, whatever, if it was horror related, it's game on.
That is a loaded question for me.
It's very loaded.
Ooh, let's see. Who would I fantasize about on a Monday night? Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday now. Shit.
Monday night. Not him. He's more of a Tuesday night. Ooh, not him. He's a Wednesday.
Friday's my Friday. Oh crap. I'm still gonna go back to Candyman, to tell you the truth, because of the damn voice.
Wow, Tony Toddy.
I can't, like, I'm not into Freddy. I'm not into Jason. I'm not like Dexter is too like nerdy. I don't know. Like who's all the
Candyman the Handyman.
right?
Wow. Okay. Well, look, dude. Yeah, Tony Todd is a beast of an actor. You know, I don't know if I ever told you this, but and I'm sure for a lot of filmmakers it is, especially horror filmmakers, but it is so a goal of mine to have that guy in one of my films one day. And I'm sure that it probably won't happen because he's very high in demand. I don't know that he takes a certain amount of stuff, I notice.
Mhm.
It seems like it. Like he stays pretty consistent with showing his face in like a horror film. And there's a lot of films he's in that people don't know about. Like they don't really get a lot of recognition. They're not promoted well.
Wasn't
But
he in like the insurance commercials? Or
I
was
don't
that was
know.
a different guy? I don't know.
I think it's a different guy, Krista.
I don't know.
You should know this. He's Mr. Monday Night.
You're gonna have to let me think about this a little bit because that's a good question. But I would really probably say Candyman. I can't ask you the same question, can I? Who do you think's the sexiest killer? I don't know.
Wow.
You're-
You know, I don't know her name offhand. Hold on. Okay. It is the woman in Eli Roth's Cabin Fever. It was I think it was the remake of the first film. She played the sheriff named Winston.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Can't
I
pick
j-
out of the top of my head, but I've seen the movies.
yeah. I don't know her name offhand, but I remember when I seen the part, I was like, yeah, Monday.
Monday.
Yeah. No, but amazing actress. The fact that she pulled off that part with such conviction, it was just really cool. But yeah, Cabin Fever remake. I think Eli, like, somebody came to him and was like, hey, we want to redo this, we want to do it like this, and I think he sanctioned it. Maybe he even produced it. I don't know. I just remember it was so well done, bro. Like I've watched that 20 times in the last 2 years, no lie. It's yeah.
I'll have to watch it again. I've seen them. They're really good. I actually just rewatched The Exorcist and Exorcist Beginning. Or not, no, not the beginning. I'm way off.
What do you think about the beginning?
I've seen no,
I gave it a 4.
It was okay. It was all right. I liked The Exorcist of Emily Rose better, and that was an even
Loved it.
same series.
Yeah. Yeah, I had very high expectations, and it's dude, I can watch films that are made on fucking $5,000 sometimes, and I'm just blown away at how good they are. Then I'll watch a film like that probably was, I'm gonna guess, maybe a few million on the low end, and money doesn't always make a film good, and that's something I can't stress enough to people. That's why I bring it up so often. I think people do have this idea that because something is so well promoted. Listen, if I had $2 million, I could promote any film I want and I could make you feel like it was a good fucking film. Doesn't mean it is. And you know what I'm saying? Like that's one of those tricks right there. I feel like I've seen 20 or 30 indie horror films on Tubi that are way better than Exorcist Believer.
You know, one that's really good that I don't think got a lot of promotion was the Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe. That was a really good one, and he's actually coming out with a second one. I don't know if the two are related, but it's another Exorcist movie, so I would assume that they are.
I
But
seen that too, and I think it's like a spin-off type deal. Like that's what it felt like. Like I don't know if they're related either. Like it looked like maybe a totally different film where he's doing the same thing
right, which is
almost.
interesting.
Yeah.
But it was
No.
excellent. It was great. My mom actually commented on one of the pods that we did. She's like, "You guys should, talk about that Russell Crowe movie." She really liked it.
Well, let's talk about Pope's Exorcist for a second here. I went and seen it in the theaters. I love Russell Crowe. To hear that he was doing a horror film, I was like, I'm seeing it. I don't care. I don't watch a lot of movies that aren't horror. My
Mhm.
family, not my family, Alicia. Alicia is my family, but like the kids are with me. They're like, yeah, horror, horror, horror. Alicia, she will say, can we watch a comedy tonight? Can we watch a romance? Can we watch a family movie, Jody? Can we watch something? And I'm just like, no, horror, horror. But you know, we gave it a little bit of a achy breaky this last week and watched a few things, and I came back and said, hey, let's rewatch The Pope's Exorcist. And we watched it like after 2 nights of watching comedy films. And I was not blown away, but I thought that the film did better than what they gave credit for. The only thing I wasn't ecstatic about, now it looks good, but I don't like a lot of CGI in my horror films.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think the CGI was done really, really well. I don't think you can pull off something like what they did with practical effects and keep it in a decent budget. I mean, it makes more sense to do it the way they did it. I think when it got to those parts towards the end, I kind of was like, this looks great. Maybe a little overkill, but like, it's good. You know, like I'm not hating it all. I just personally, once I see a lot of CGI in a film, I just kind of like, shit. I
You
sit back a little bit.
You're the filmmaker, you would know. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I loved some of those Indiana Jones vibes when they were down exploring in the basement and they found all these, old artifacts and stuff. That kind of stuff gets me too. So I
Yes.
just thought the storyline was done really well. And I don't normally watch a horror like an Exorcist type movie. Like I'm not usually glued to the TV. I'm like, oh, this is, a little too fake for me. But I think it was really overall well done.
I honestly, I would give The Pope's Exorcist a 7.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think that was it The Exorcist Believer? That's what it was called, right? The Believer.
The newest Exorcist movie?
Yeah.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think so too. Which I also went and seen that at the theater, and I hate
The
saying this.
20.
I'm not disappointed about watching the movie. I was disappointed that I went and paid to see it at the theater. I found myself very, very bored. There's a lot I appreciate about it, but I think that a little past the middle of the movie, I was sitting there and it took a lot for me to stay locked in. And that's very hard to do to me, bro. Like I don't say that very often. If you watch any of these podcasts, I don't say this about films too often. It really was that. I'm not saying it was that bad. It just I tried. I was like, please fall in love with this. Fall in love with this because I was so excited hearing about it and the build up for it was great, but I don't know, just missed the mark.
I think if you're looking for a good like found footage type, I wouldn't even say Exorcist type movie, but Demonic Possession, Jerusalem is a really good one. Not sure if you've seen that, but it's found footage horror, which I'm a huge fan of too. Surprise, surprise. But it's called Jerusalem. And it's like you just have to watch it and tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'll definitely I'll have to write you and ask you that name again later so I can definitely put it on the list of to watch. But I am excited to see Russell Crowe come back and do whatever that is that he's doing, whether it's a spin-off, a part 2, or just something completely different. I thought he did a good job at playing that role of Father Gabriel. I loved it, man. It was really, really cool. And I love those kind of movies too. I love when they do them different because for a while there, it was like every possession movie felt like every other possession movie, right?
Right. Then they did the Nun. They're not the Nun horror series, but there's Lady. What is it? I am so terrible at remembering that. I watched so much horror. So there's one that a nun did, and she actually was doing exorcisms. And obviously, in Catholic Church, women aren't allowed to do anything.
Right.
She started doing exorcisms. I'm gonna have to get the name of that for you too. That was actually done well too, and it did manage to keep my attention. Like The Believer, you said couldn't keep your attention. There's some that will just keep me glued, and that was another one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I seen The Nun 2 this year, I went to the theater to see The Nun 2. I really, really enjoyed that. I loved it. I came home and bragged about it, and it was it was really, really good. I found a lot of points in that film where I was jumping, and when I jump, it's not because I'm actually scared. It's just because they do something so well. It's like that kid that sees that, that toy on the shelf that excites them. Like I was like, oh man, as a filmmaker, like I was like, dude, I love this filmmaker. I love what these people did. It was so well shot. And the lighting is just incredible. But the Nun 2, in my opinion, is like 10 times better than the first Nun movie. And that woman that plays the nun, I always forget her name, but dude, she is incredible. She's just she's so haunting as the nun. They couldn't have found a better person with a better face structure for that character.
I actually watched that movie after I watched Mallet for the first time, The Nun too. Yeah,
Wow.
did.
What?
Yeah, you were the you were the opener for my horror night.
Oh man, that is so badass, dude. That is awesome. Which, by the way, guys, Mallet 2 is now available. You can go to malletmovie.com. And when I say it's now available, you can pre-order it now. Reserve your signed copy today. They actually will be going out towards the end of September. You will get them before the movie officially drops on October 11th. So it's all the reason to pre-order. You could be the first person in the world to see the movie before everybody else has to wait and see the movie. It's kind of dirty. I feel a little mean doing that, but that's the perk of pre-ordering. So
That's not dirty. That's exciting.
it's very exciting. And which, by the way, you can see Krista in Mallet too, playing Trailer Park Tina.
And that
Very
movie, The Nun Exorcist, is Pray for the Devil. That's what it's called.
Ooh, I did like that.
Yeah, did you see it? That was a good one.
I did. I watched it more recently. I think you told me about it. I think that's why I watched it.
Oh, probably did.
We've talked so much about we talk horror, man. That's what we do over here. You know what I'm saying? I was about to say on Hunting the Dead on the scream scene. But
Well, it says Hunting the Dead on your camera, so
there you go. That's what people call me. That's my other channel there. But and all of a sudden I'm talking country. I don't know what's going on. But no, I hope that Crystal Lake, Camp Crystal, whatever they're calling it, whenever they're going to do it, I hope that the TV show actually does come out. There's something exciting the way that they bring, like with the movie, you got an hour and 20 minutes to sell me. With the TV show, you can keep me hooked week after week, wondering what's going on. And I have fell in love with that. I used to hate that. I wanted to see it all at once. But now, like, I think, Bates Motel was the one that like broke that for me. Like, wow, TV shows can be very, very beneficial to the horror experience. And then Chucky, I did fall off after season 1, and sporadically watched episodes I probably shouldn't have skipped. But there was something about that, the way it was done. And so I'm looking forward to Crystal Lake, and I hope to God that it comes out and they do something really unique. And yeah, maybe we can have 6 or 12 episodes, and each week just look forward to something, a new experience that'll keep us on our edge and wondering what Jason's going to do next.
do you think they're dropping them all at once so we can binge it? Like you were saying, I want to know everything all at once. I will binge it in like 2 days.
Yeah, that is the way that it happens nowadays. Now, see, I don't watch TV shows that religiously. So, yeah, I need to get used to saying it like that. Yeah, because nowadays they drop it all at once. You're right. They do that. And thank God they do, because we've waited so long for the last Stranger Things that they better drop that shit all at once when it drops. I feel like we've been waiting for this now for fucking ever.
They'll give you 4 episodes and then a mid-season break and then release more.
It will break my damn heart if they do that. But I understand. If it was me making it, I'd probably do the same. But I look forward to the last installment of the Stranger Things. I think that's going to be great, and I hope this TV show gets made. And What about you? Is there anything that you're dying to see a remake of or hoping that happens?
I mean, Freddy. I know we keep talking about it, but I would love to see new Freddy remake.
Yeah.
I am excited for the new Twister, which I'm going to go see in theaters next month. As far as other horror remakes, no, not really. I want to see something new, something original, something
Mm.
that hasn't been done before, like Mallet 2. I'm excited for that.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Um yeah, well, listen, I was one highlight this year, happened more recently, when I seen In a Violent Nature. I did have that where even though it's not my favorite movie, I wouldn't say that it's even in my top 20, but it did something for me to where I was very excited to see a new take on horror, and it felt like something new I hadn't seen a million times, like a lot of things do. So that was really cool. That was a highlight in the horror world of my year. But I am desperately waiting for a Silent Hill film.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My heart is beating just saying that, and I know that sounds weird, but I feel like I've been waiting I've been waiting for so long for another Silent Hill film. Um, and it's one of those films with the games, with the movies, they don't fuck around. They
No.
do it right. They they go over, they go overboard, and that's good because that's what a Silent Hill film is. And the first two were done so well that I feel like if they stick with the same formula, which I believe they will, um, it's going to be one of those trilogies that just goes down in history as one of the best psychological horrors ever.
You know, when you brought up Silent Hill, it actually made me think of Cloverfield, like how well Cloverfield they redid. Did you see the I think there's two.
Wait,
This
wait, 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 wait. What is Cloverfield?
Cloverfield was an original like found footage type movie about like some kind of like a monster going through like New York or something. But they did a remake and it had the guy from Roseanne in there, John
Goodman.
Goodman, he's in there, and that movie was freaking incredible.
Mm.
Nothing like the first one. So it wasn't even, but it was a remake, like not even a remake. It was the next movie, the next Cloverfield movie, and it just flipped the script completely. Like one thing after another, you weren't expecting to happen, and it happened.
That didn't have Superman in it, did it?
Cloverfield, well, like just for a little recap, in the second one, they're in an underground bunker, and
Mhm.
John Goodman rescues this girl and brings her in, and he kind of holds her captive in there, and he's telling her that up above, it's we were invaded by aliens or these creatures, and then she starts to not believe him, so she tries to escape, and he keeps. But there was a guy in there too, another guy at one point in there with them, and I don't know if he made it, but maybe
Okay.
he did know.
I remember hearing the name, and I feel like at some point I was going to check it out, and somebody said something about it being like a superhero movie or something, and I was like, "Oh yeah, then no, it's not for me." And I know people will see, all this on my arm, and they'll say, "Well, Jody loves superheroes." It is true, but when it comes to my movies, I'm more like the comic action figure poster. Like watching them on the screen has never been my favorite part. It's really the toys, man, that inspire me, and I'm a kid old, man. I'm a big kid, but when I heard Cloverfield and I heard that, I think I strayed away from it instantly. So when you were just talking, I'm like, wait, was I lied to? Was this more of like a horror thing?
It's a horror. Superman is not in. I thought you meant the actor that played Superman. No, definitely no superhero movie at all. It's great. It was great.
Damn. See, that might be a rabbit hole I need to go down.
It's good. The first one was really good. The second one was 10 times better. So I wouldn't mind seeing a third one of that to see what happens after the fact. Yeah, you
I
should watch
like that.
it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna definitely check it out. Well, I know we've been going on here for a while. I really did want to talk about this Crystal Lake thing, and I wish there was more to go off. And maybe there's a lot of reviews. I could read them all. But here's the thing: like, I've been seeing that for so long. It's just like I want to see a release date. I want to see a good trailer. It's time. Give us something. Feed us. I think tonight though, I'm gonna go crawl in bed and probably watch Jason X again.
I'm gonna watch it. And Bates Motel.
Yeah, dude, you will fall so hard in love with Bates Motel. Freddie Highmore and oh my god, I can't I'm forgetting her name. She's an amazing actress. Why? Dude, I do this. I think it's late. But the girl that plays oh my god, Norman's mother, Norma, she is, oh, you guys know, man. We've seen her in the Conjuring movies. We've seen her in a lot of things. She's just,
Vera something.
yes, Vera. Dude, when it comes to acting and women actors of the world, she is in the top 10. It's just, she is high caliber. And anybody that's worked with her, I know they would tell you the same, dude. I don't even know if she gets the credit she deserves. She's a bad motherfucker, dude. And her and Freddie Highmore, they deliver something that could never be expected. Anybody that's went down the rabbit hole of watching the Bates Motel TV series is just like Jodie. That was just beyond remarkable.
She was the same one from The Nun that you were talking about?
Well, so Vera, she plays Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring movies.
Okay.
And they have the Nun in one or them or two of them. I forget. I've never been a big fan of the Conjuring movies. They're well done, but I haven't revisited them like a one done type thing. I don't know, man. Something about paranormal movies. Like, I've done enough paranormal. I get enough paranormal. I'm like, fuck, I don't need to watch paranormal movies too. They're okay, but again, I'm one and done. I'm good. Let's go. I have to always see a new Conjuring movie when it comes out, but yeah, but she's you'll love that. And anybody that hasn't seen it, definitely, if there's some things I could recommend to you right now, go watch Jason X, revisit that, watch Bates Motel, watch the Salem TV show. If you haven't watched all the Insidious films, definitely do. I know they said that there's going to be another one, so that's pretty cool. And retouch the Silent Hill films, because dude, they are just timeless. No matter how many times I watch them over and over, I'm not like, I don't start it and be like, no, I'm gonna watch something else. I've seen this too much. Like, I always get through them, and I love them.
I love Silent Hill. I just rewatched them last couple months back when we were talking about them. The possibility of a third.
Oh my god, fist pump the screen, Krista. You're badass. All right, there we go. All right, listen, guys, that's enough from us tonight. Let us know your thoughts on what we talked about. Leave us some love. Leave Krista some love in the comment section here. Smash that thumbs up, comment below, share this on social media. Anything you want to say before we head out the door?
Go pre-order Mallet 2. It's out there.
Pre-order Mallet 2. What you gonna freaking do? All right, that sucked. Listen, love you guys so much. Be back in a few days, but until then, sweet nightmares.